Welcome back to the Weekend Warrior Show where, wait, what's going on here? Wait, where am I? Am I in the back rooms? How did I get here? No, I'm supposed to be recording the Weekend Warrior Show. How to get into the back rooms? Yes, that's right. This past weekend was all about Kane Parsons' Backrooms. It became the biggest opening movie to date. Kane Parsons is also the youngest director to have a movie released by A24. Parsons is the mastermind behind the YouTube viral sensation, and he's just 20 years old. So I have t-shirts older than him. So what the fuck? Holy shit. Anyway, I'm recording this on Monday afternoon, so actually most of the weekend box office from this past weekend might still be estimates. But yes, this past weekend's box office was all about two horror movies that have far exceeded all sorts of expectations, all sorts of predictions, all sorts of productions, and both of them were made by 20-something filmmakers who got their start on YouTube. So if you're not feeling old already, then you're going to be feeling very old once I get through this week's box office recap. Okay, that's a little bit better. That yellow was making me a little queasy. But yeah, Backrooms have been selling tickets pretty briskly leading up to last Thursday when it opened for previews. It ended up making 10.4 million in previews, which is on par with the original Five Nights at Freddy's a few years back. It's another huge sensation. I mean, 10.4 million previews alone is going to lead to a pretty big weekend. It did amazing business on Friday with 38.4 million. And then by Sunday morning, it had reported an estimated 81.5 million for the weekend, which is really big. I mean, again, it's bigger than A24's next biggest opening, which was Alex Garland's Civil War, which opened with like 25 million. So it exceeded that number by a huge amount. Again, it's only the estimate. It might be lower, might be higher with actuals come in, but it actually was on par with The Mandalorian Grogu's opening a week earlier. I'm going to get more into that a little bit because there was a lot of talk this week about how Backrooms just opened as well as Star Wars The Mandalorian Grogu, which is supposed to be one of the big movies of the summer. I should mention that Backrooms opened in 3,442 theaters, which is A24's second widest release ever. Now, Backrooms actually received great reviews with 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. I was watching the Rotten reviews on there, but apparently other critics liked it. And that's actually was interesting because it's actually had a lower 74% popcorn meter, which is from the audiences. And it only got a B minus cinema score, which is less than Obsession's A minus cinema score. So maybe the fans didn't like the movie as much as the critics. Maybe critics are being too easy or gentle on the movie for some reason because they knew that there were going to be a lot of fans out there yelling at them if they didn't like the movie. But I was honest. I was just kind of okay with the movie. I wasn't crazy about it. But Backrooms, 81.5 million, first place, but with relative ease. But the craziest thing is there was followed in second place by Obsession. It maintained second place with not a drop, but an increase of 10% from the weekend before. So it increased 10% from Memorial Day weekend to make 26.4 million, which is the estimate right now. But it has made 104.8 million in the first 3 weeks. And this is a movie that cost $750,000. So imagine that. This movie gets picked up by Focus Features. They release it. They do a great job promoting it and marketing it. And it did okay opening weekend. It did like 17 million. Great. Super. That's really good for a horror movie these days, especially by relative unknown with lesser known actors and unknown actors, actually. Word of mouth has just been huge. So Obsession went up last week over Memorial Day weekend, which is maybe somewhat expected. But then it went up again. And this time it went up against Backrooms. So it went up 10% despite Backrooms opening so big. And that's crazy. So Backrooms has made 81.5 million in just 3 days. Obsession has made 104.7 million in like 3 weeks. I mean, it's going to probably be bigger than Scream 7, which is already pretty big for that franchise. But yeah, Obsession in second place with 26.4 million. And it actually beat Star Wars The Mandalorian Grogu, which had a huge 69% drop. It only made 25 million estimated. It has grossed 137.4 million domestically so far. Again, these numbers could change a little bit once the actuals come out. But right now, Star Wars is not doing as well as anyone was hoping or expecting. I mean, The Mandalorian is a really popular Disney Plus TV show. It did really well. It won a lot of Emmys. But for whatever reason, the fans have turned against it. They don't want to see these characters on the big screen. Because it dropped so much, it ended up dropping from first place to third place behind Obsession. So that is kind of crazy. It's been a lot of talk over the weekend. A lot of, people saying, oh, look, Star Wars is dead. 20-something YouTube filmmakers are the thing these days. And this is what's going to bring me to my latest. So now, mind you, I saw the original Star Wars when I was 12 or 13 years old in theaters, and I really liked it. And I really liked the sequels after that. I mean, when I was still pretty young, I mean, these movies were great. They were wonderful, escapist fare, whatever. By the time I got to the George Lucas prequels, I was already in my 30s. I was not going to be as enamored by this stuff. I wasn't a kid anymore. But like I didn't become like one of these like diehards with collecting toys and stuff like so many other people I know. I have so many friends who collect toys. They collect Legos things. They're just so diehard. They go to Star Wars Celebration. I've been writing about movies for almost 25 years now. I've been in this kind of space with like the other like the nerd crowd for over 20 years. And I never understood how adult men, especially, I mean, there are adult women too. I know a lot of women who are fans of Star Wars as well, but I never understood how grown-ups could be just as diehard about Star Wars now as they were when they're kids. And they're going on and on about Star Wars, and the series came out, the Disney Plus series with on, and they were every Disney Plus series comes out, and they go, "Oh, this is the greatest thing ever," blah blah blah. Then they turn on the movie, they turned it against Rise of Skywalker, which I kind of liked, and they really turn on the Mandalorian Grogu. I mean, people are just going on and on and on about Backrooms obsession. Oh, Star Wars is dead, Lucasfilm is dead, Disney is dead. You know what? It's like the height of hypocrisy. You know what? If you're a Star Wars fan, then be a Star Wars fan. Don't be a Star Wars fan until it suits your purpose to turn against it. I feel the same thing happened with Marvel. And yeah, Marvel's had a few movies that weren't that great, but I love the comics. I love the characters. I'm kind of more of a Marvel guy than I am a Star Wars guy. So I love those characters. And I can't wait to see those characters on the big screen whenever they come out again, including the upcoming Spider-Man. To kind of like rave about Star Wars for years and years and years, going to Star Wars Celebration, all this stuff, and then Mandalorian Grogu doesn't do that well, and you're like, oh, Star Wars is dead, blah blah. You know what? Fuck you. This is like real hypocrisy, and I'm sorry to go on a rant in the middle of reporting on box office, but I had to say it because I this past weekend, the last few days, it's just so annoying. There are people who are just going on and on about Star Wars all the time, and now they're like, oh, the new big thing is these 20-something YouTube filmmakers. Yeah, they're two hits. Just two. Let's get some more. There haven't been that Chris Stuckman. He didn't get a big hit. I mean, there've been other YouTube filmmakers who didn't do that well, and we'll see. I mean, there's another movie opening this week, which is from a YouTube series. We'll also see how much Backrooms drops in its second weekend, because that's also critical. I mean, Backrooms is opened as big as Five Nights at Freddy's, which is a Universal movie based in a horror video game, but it tanked after that. It had a huge drop after that, and the sequel to that didn't do as well. So, Kane Parsons, I don't know you. Enjoy the success, enjoy the money you're making from it. But you might be joining Markiplier on the breadline by the time you're 30. So, of course, I don't nothing against Markiplier either, but I just said that. Anyway, let's get back to the box office because that's what we're here for talk about. Lionsgate's Michael dropped to fourth place, 11.7 million, down 43%. I mean, holy shit, this movie has made 340 million already so far. It's just dominating. It's been dominating the box office since it opened in late April. It's now June as I record this. And then there was Nate Bargatze's The Breadwinner from Sony, which it could have been a hit. I mean, he is a pretty popular stand-up comic. It was a PG movie, family friendly. I mean, I saw the trailer so many times that I was just so sick of it. I mean, I saw the movie and I ended up not reviewing it, but by the time I saw the movie, I'd already seen probably the funniest parts in it, and I use the term funny loosely. The Breadwinner opened in 3,252 theaters, which is moderate. I mean, it was less than Backrooms, but it just didn't pick up an audience. I mean, it had an estimated 7.5 million, and that's with school's still in session, I guess, for the younger kids. But I guess parents who liked Nate Bargatze didn't want to bring their kids. The kids weren't interested. Older kids went to see the Backrooms, even though it was rated R. But yeah, so the Breadwinner opened in fifth place, 7.5 million, really bad. It shouldn't be surprising that the Breadwinner got terrible reviews with 20% from critics, but audiences definitely seem to enjoy it more, the ones who saw it anyway, giving it an 87% popcorn meter on Rotten Tomatoes, as well as a decent A- cinema score. Sixth place was The Devil Wears Prada 2, a huge hit for 20th Century, and Disney made another 5.9 million this weekend, down 54%. But it's already crossed 200 million. It's a 209.3 million domestic. Great showing for this movie. It is one of the summer's success stories so far. So yeah, you can talk about Backroom's Obsession all you want, but Michael and Devil Wears Prada 2 are also big hits. Seventh place was Focus Features' other movie, Pressure, which is a World War II movie starring Brendan Fraser, Andrew Scott. I actually wasn't expecting it to do very well. I kind of, it's really interesting because I felt like that I didn't even hear about this movie until a couple weeks ago. The reviews were held until I think Tuesday night, I want to say, which kind of to set up some red flags. But I saw it on Monday. I really liked it. Other people saw it. I mean, it did really well. I mean, it had a lot of previews on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but it still made 5.8 million over the weekend in 1,829 theaters. It's not great, but you know what? It's better than the 2 to 3 million I thought it would make. So it did get a grade A cinema score. The audience are mostly older men, I assume, and word of mouth should remain good. And if folks could keep it in theaters, it could still keep getting business. Maybe not to the degree of obsession, but it's going to be another kind of like minor hit for the studio. Eighth place, Sheep Detectives, 4.6 million, down 50%. It has made 54.5 million so far. I mean, I was always hoping that would make a little more money. It's a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. And then Paramount's Passenger, which opened over Memorial Day weekend, the horror movie, that dropped 70% down to 2.6 million. It's made 15.3 million. It is pretty much dead in the water. It'll be out of theaters soon. And the same goes for Mortal Kombat 2, which dropped 67% this past weekend. It has made 77.7 million in its first 4 weeks, adding another 2 million this weekend. I mean, I guess 77.7 million is still better than the movie that opened during COVID, but I don't know if that's gonna like warrant doing a Mortal Kombat 3. It's made only like 47.8 million overseas, so yeah, it's kind of dead at this point. I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe it still has to open in other places. The next movie I should mention is Daniel Rojo's Tuner, which Black Bear Pictures expanded into 452 theaters, which is not really wide. It was kind of moderate, but it did okay. It did like 1.7 million this weekend. It averaged 3,761 per theater. It's pretty good showing for Black Bear, who has not had many hits, but again, 1.7 million is outside the top 10. So I hope people find this movie. I love it. I love Tuner. It's one of my favorite movies of the year by far. I saw it again on Sunday night. And then after that, we have Boots Riley's Other Boosters. That dropped 64%. So not as bad as drop as some of the other movies. It's made 7.3 million so far. Let's see, other movies, limited releases. Oh, the first one we should mention, John Carney's Paraballad, starring Paul Rudd, Nick Jonas. That opened in just 10 theaters over the weekend, and it averaged 17,000 per theater to make 170,000 in its opening weekend. It's expanding next weekend into an unknown number of theaters. I'll talk about that later. It's not a great opening. I mean, if for a movie that's going to go wide or wide-ish, 17,000 per theater is not a great showing. It's going to be a little tough to see if it picks up. But I'll talk about this a little later. There are a couple other movies that opened in a single New York theater. I don't think I need to mention them. I didn't get around to doing a print edition last week, so I didn't get as many reviews as I wanted to. But anyway, that's the top 10. Number 1, Backrooms. Number 2, Obsession. Number 3, Star Wars: The Mandalorian Grogu. Number 4, Michael. Number 5, The Breadwinner. Number 6, The Devil Wears Prada 2. Number 7, Pressure. Number 8, Sheep Detectives. Number 9, Passenger. And number 10, Mortal Kombat 2. And I'll throw in number 11, Tuner, because I love Tuner so much. And as far as the estimated top 10, estimated 174 million. That's not bad. I mean, more than half of that was Backrooms, but that's still a pretty healthy box office for the beginning of summer. Let's get some of the new movies opening on Friday, and everything old is new again. And after getting 2 of the most original horror movies in ages, we're back to getting 2 studio movies that hark back to the past. This coming weekend, it's nostalgia porn at its best, although we also have another YouTube series brought to the big screen. We'll start with a movie that's going to be vying for number 1 against the second weekend of Backrooms, and it's actually a spoof of horror movies. It's the first scary movie in 13 years, and the first involving the Wayans in 25 years. So let's check out the trailer.
Guess who's back?
Shit.
Back again.
My God, he stabbed her! Not her!
My pronouns are they, them. He stabbed them.
We back.
There's a serial killer on the loose.
Hello, Tuesday.
I had been preparing for this for years.
Hello, Mother. You look like shit.
Should we hug?
I really want to, but I'm a Republican now, so I'm supposed to be racist.
Oh, girl, I think all white people are racist anyway. Come here.
Okay.
As I mentioned before, the Wayans are back, as are Anna Faris and Regina Hall from the original movies. Just like when the original Scary Movie and its sequel were released in 2000, 2001, there's been a lot of horror movies that are just worthy of spoofing in recent years. which makes sense that the Wayans decided to just come back. The newest Scary Movie is written by the Wayans brothers with Rick Alvarez, who produced a lot of the Wayans comedies post Scary Movie, as well as co-writing many of Marlon Wayans' recent offerings like A Haunted House and its sequel, and 50 Shades of Black. The first Scary Movie was definitely a bit of a phenomenon, opening in July 2000 with 42.3 million, mostly spoofing the horror movies of the 90s like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. Grossing 157 million domestic, it was such a big hit that they quickly turned around a sequel that was released on the 4th of July in 2001. Oddly, that only opened with just 21.2 million and grossed just 71.3 million domestic, but made the exact same amount overseas, which is rare for a black comedy. There were 3 more Scary Movies without the involvement of the Wayans. Of those, 2003's Scary Movie 3 had the best opening with 49.7 million, while its 2006 follow-up Scary Movie 4 opened with 40 million, but it didn't quite make it to 100 million domestic gross. In 2014, the attempt to bring the franchise back without any of the original stars failed, with Scary Movie 5 bombing. It's kind of interesting that the Wayans decided to come back to make another Scary Movie, as they all went off to do their own things after that, but not before making White Chicks in 2004, which opened with 19.4 million and grossed 70 million domestic and 113 million worldwide. Its 2006 follow-up Little Man opened with 21.6 million to gross over 100 million worldwide. Marlon Wayans' 2013 ghost comedy, A Haunted House, actually opened well with 18 million, although it was reamed by critics and not that well received by audiences either. Its 2014 sequel opened with half the opening of the first movie and only made 21 million globally. So it's a little weird that they'd be returning to this territory, although those movies were pretty much Marlon working on his own. Likewise, 2016's 50 Shades of Black opened even lower and ended up similarly bad with a worldwide gross of 22 million. One assumes that these movies not doing so well may have led to Marlon Wayans reuniting with his family, but the return of his character Shorty is only part of the draw for the newest Scary Movie. This will also be the first movie in which Anna Faris and Regina Hall have reunited in 20 years. As we saw with The Devil Wears Prada 2, audiences seem to want these reunions, even 20 years later. Considering the higher price of movie tickets these days, one thinks it will require less of these fans returning to still bring in 40 million or more. This particular Scary Movie should also benefit from the stronger marketing from Paramount Pictures. Paramount is also a much bigger studio than Open Road, who released Marlon Wayans' 3 solo movies to mixed results. In fact, Paramount Pictures marketing for Scary Movie has been quite brilliant, with great trailers, ads, and posters that remind the horror fans that there are a lot of movies that they love, that they're up for the kind of satirization that the Wayans do in their very R-rated style. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see the movie until Thursday, and I'm not sure when reviews are running, but Paramount may be hiding this from critics again with another Wednesday night screening because maybe they think that critics are just going to trash it, and that's not going to help their opening weekend. I don't expect the reviews to be great because the film critics probably don't care as much about seeing this movie again as audiences and fans might. Still, I have a feeling that Paramount's involvement will make a big difference. Those will do a reunion of the original characters to get audiences back out to theaters to the tune of almost 40 million, which puts it right against the second weekend of Backrooms. Although I still think Scary Movie will win, and maybe they'll even surprised by how well it does this weekend, just because some people might think it looks stupid and dated and whatever. The other big movie of the weekend that could also be considered nostalgia porn will be vying to knock Backrooms down to third place is Amazon MGM's Masters of the Universe, directed by Travis Knight from Bumblebee and the Leica stop-motion animated studio. Let's watch the trailer, and then we'll talk.
Adam, when you hold the magic sword, what do you say?
By the power of Grayskull.
Go on. Now,
as you'll see from my review, I've never been a fan of the Mattel toy line of Masters of the Universe, never been a fan of the various cartoons or the 1987 live-action movie, but clearly there are many diehard, mostly male fans, maybe as much as there were for Transformers, which was turned into a popular movie franchise by Hasbro, Paramount, and Michael Bay. Mattel already had a massive hit a few years back with Greta Gerwig's Barbie in 2023, and now they're turning to another popular toy line in hopes for similar success. Master of the Universe stars Nicholas Galatine as Eternia's young Prince Adam, who is transported to Earth as a boy when Jared Leto's Skeletor attacks. He remains on Earth for 15 years, having been separated from the Sword of Power, which I'm not going to get into. Eventually, he returns to Eternia, and guess what? He fights Skeletor. The biggest name star for this version has to be Idris Elba as Duncan, aka Master of Arms, but the movie also stars Camila Mendes from Riverdale as Tila, Alison Brie as Evelyn, Johannes Johannesson as Fisto, Marina Baccarin as Sorceress, and James Purefoy and Charlotte Riley as the King and Queen. Oh, and Kristen Wiig voices a BattleBot named Robota. And I kind of like rest my case about how stupid these characters are. I mean, the names of the characters are idiotic. The premise, I don't know. I'll get into that in my review. But anyway, not a fan. Now, director Travis Knight, he was the founder of the Portland, Oregon independent stop-motion animation studio Laika, which launched in 2009 with Henry Selick's Coraline, based on the Neil Gaiman book. It then released a bunch of movies via Focus Features, with 2012's Paranorman, 2014's The Box Trolls, 2016's Kubo and the Two Strings, which Knight also directed, and 2019's Missing Link. This Masters of the Universe has a lot of writers, but it's mostly another collaboration between Knight and Chris Butler, who has written many of Laika's movies, and he also directed Missing Link. In 2018, Knight transitioned to directing live action with Bumblebee, a Transformers spin-off, which opened with $21.6 million the week before Christmas, then ended up making $127 million domestic and another $337.5 million overseas. Bumblebee made $464.7 million globally, based on a $102 million production budget, so it was definitely profitable. I wasn't really that familiar with Nicholas Galitzine before finding out he was going to be starring in Masters of the Universe, but I did like him in Cheap Detectives, which is still playing in theaters, but it's more of an ensemble movie, and he has always teamed with someone else in this movie, where this movie, he has a lot of heavy lifting to do himself. Another comparison we can make for this is the 2023 movie Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. That opened really well with $37.2 million, but still ended up under $100 million domestic and just over $200 million globally. It also cost $150 million to make, so it wasn't exactly profitable. I'm expecting reviews to generally be good for Masters of the Universe because there are a lot of fans in the review space. My review is exceptional, obviously, but most of those reviews will be hitting Tuesday morning after I record this. At one point, I was thinking Masters of the Universe could open with over 30 million, and it probably still could, but it's going to be kind of strange having 3 movies to make over 30 million this weekend if you include Scary Movie and Backrooms. Masters of the Universe will definitely benefit from getting some premium screens away from Mandalorian, although I still think it's going to have to share some of those screens because Disney has a lot of power when it comes to getting those premium format screens. I also think the audience for this will be limited to kids and to older male nerds who like the toys and cartoons, and it might not appeal as much to just normal audiences. Either way, like Scary Movie, there's nostalgia porn at its finest, and I still think 30 million plus is still possible, although I think it might fall below Backrooms to take third place. I don't have nearly as much to say about the amazing digital circus, The Last Act, which, like Backrooms, is based on a very popular YouTube series. I mean, it's so popular that the first episode has over 750 million views, which is almost 10 times the amount of views of the most viewed episode of Backrooms. So here's a trailer. We'll see if I have much to say about it after.
Are you sure?
That means
Please, just...
Now we have nothing.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
what do we do now?
I really wanted to help.
So yes, The Amazing Digital Circus has a few things in common with Backrooms, mainly as the continuation, or in this case, a conclusion of a popular YouTube series. This movie is being released by Fathom Events on Thursday with more screenings over the weekend. It looks pretty weird, but presumably it might also be something that older kids might watch when they have screen time. So they'll probably be the target audience for this in theaters, with more adults going to the other 2 movies. I know the ticket sales have been really good for this so far, but this will open for a full day on Thursday, including at least one 4DX screening in the morning. I have a feeling the diehard fans for this series will be going out to see this on either Thursday or Friday, at least in the first couple days. What's interesting is that at one point this was going to play only through the weekend, but then it was extended for an extra week, and now it seems to be playing through June 18th. So it's also playing in some premium theaters, but it's going to be competing for those screens with Masters of the Universe and The Mandalorian and Grogu. I think it'll do really well on Thursday, maybe 5, maybe 6 million on Thursday, and then good for 10 to 11 million on the weekend, which will put it just outside the top 5. But again, I know very little about the series. I am just guessing, and I'm being honest about the fact I'm just guessing. Expanding nationwide into an unknown number of theaters at this time is John Carney's music-based comedy Power Ballad, starring Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas. So here's the trailer for that.
Now, they're just starts, okay? But you get the vibe.
Can I make a suggestion?
What do you go like? Never gonna run if you don't walk. Never gonna talk, but don't run. Don't look down.
John Carney first got attention back in 2007 when his movie Once debuted at the Sundance Film Festival. It ended up being a moderate theatrical hit, but it really exploded when it won the Oscar for Best Original Song a year later, leading to a Broadway musical production that was a huge hit that won a bunch of Tonys. After that, Carney went out to make a number of other music-related movies that I'll get into shortly. In Carney's Power Ballad, Paul Rudd plays Mike Power, the singer in an Irish wedding band who encounters Nick Jonas's pop star Danny Wilson, the former member of a boy band, at one such wedding. The two of them end up hanging out after the wedding, and Mike plays Danny one of his songs that ends up becoming a huge hit for the pop star that drives Mike a little crazy since he's not getting any credit or money for writing that hit. Paul Rudd's most recent movie was the Anaconda remake with Jack Black, which opened with just $14 million on Christmas weekend and went on to gross $65 million domestic and $70.2 million overseas, which wasn't bad for a movie with a $45 million budget. Also last year, Paul Rudd starred in two back-to-back A24 movies with Friendship and Death of a Unicorn, as well as appearing on the popular Hulu series Only Murders in the Building. Of those two movies, Friendship did slightly better with $16.2 million compared to the $12.5 million made by Death of a Unicorn, but neither of them showed Paul Rudd to be a very big draw. Obviously, Rudd's still best known for playing Scott Lang and Ant-Man in the Marvel movies, but he had a thriving comedy career before that, appearing in multiple movies directed by Judd Apatow, and more recently, he became the big part in Sony's Ghostbusters franchise reboot. As mentioned before, Carney has made a bunch of popular music-related movies, following Once Up with the New York-based Begin Again, starring Haley Steinfeld and Mark Ruffalo. That was released by the Weinstein Company, boo, in 2014, and it made just $16 million domestic. It did way better overseas with $51.6 million, although I'm not sure if Weinstein Company was involved with that. 2 years later, Carney returned to Ireland for the 80s-based Forming a Band movie called Sing Street, which Weinstein really botched that one. It only made $3.2 million domestic and $12.6 million globally, despite being a very popular crowd-pleasing movie going back to Sundance. In 2023, Carney made Floor and Son, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Jack Rayner, and Eve Houston, aka Bono's daughter, but that was an Apple release, so I don't think it reported box office. Jonas is probably best known as one-third of the Jonas Brothers, as well as having his own music career, but he hasn't done that much acting. He appeared in the blockbuster Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle and his sequel, Jumanji: The Next Level. He also appeared in Rowan Emmerich's Midway, as well as a few other things, including an indie called Goat, which I really liked. He hasn't really done enough to be considered a box office draw for his acting, but he does have a lot of fans for his music, and the role of Danny Wilson is perfectly suited to appeal to them because it's well aligned with Jonas' own story. Power Ballad also stars Carney regular Jack Rayner, as well as amazing Havana Rose Liu, who is in Tuner. Love her. She's great. She's one of my favorite actors these days. Anyway, Lionsgate opened Power Ballad in 10 theaters last weekend, and it made an estimated $170,000, averaging $17,000 per theater. It isn't great, especially for a movie that's presumably expanding into 2,000 or more theaters. There's a good chance these new theaters will be in areas where Rudd and Jonas both have a lot more fans. This is also going to appeal to a very different audience than the other movies in theaters, both the new and the returning movies. And because of that, I still think Power Ballad could make $4 million or more in its first weekend in wide release. Also opening this Thursday, there's a Telugu movie called PEDDI, P-E-D-D-I, which I also don't know a lot about. Prathon Gira's Cinemas, who's had a lot of success with Telugu movies in North America, including RRR, is releasing PEDDI moderately into about 400 to 500 theaters. It's written and directed by Buchi Babu Sana, and going by the trailer, it's an action movie involving cricket and wrestling that looks pretty cool, with music by A.R. Rahman from Slumdog Millionaire. This movie looks really cool, and I'd love to see it, but neither Regal Unlimited or AMC lists are accepted at these screenings. So anyway, it opens on Wednesday. I believe there's been some decent pre-sales so far, but there might be for Wednesday and Thursday only, which won't leave a lot left for the weekend. So I'm not sure we'll get into the top 10. It might make about 2.5 to 3 million over the weekend itself. But again, I don't think they'll get into the top 10. Anyway, on that note, I'll leave you this week with the trailer for PEDDI. So check it out, enjoy it, and have a great week and go see some movies.
Entering tunnel number 13.
Sir! Emergency, sir!
ఇక్కడ ఏ కుర్రోడిని అడిగినా ఫేవరెట్ ప్లే మారుతుంది గాని ఫేవరెట్ ప్లేయర్ మారట్లేదు. పెద్ది ఈ ఏరియాలో ఏమైనా దేవుడి పేరా?
నా ఫేవరెట్ క్రికెటర్ పెద్ది సార్. నా ఫేవరెట్ రెజ్లర్ పెద్ది సార్. నా ఫేవరెట్ రన్నర్ పెద్ది సార్. ఈ కుర్రోళ్ళకి పెద్దిగోడు గుళ్ళో దేవుడు కాదు సార్, గ్రౌండ్ లో దేవుడు.
అంటే నా పొగరు ఆకాశం నుంచి సుక్కలు రాలి పడతాయి అంటారు కదా. సుక్కేమైనా ఈ పూట విజయనగరంలో రాలి పడినదేట్రా. చూడు
పేలింది సాన్నే గాని బొక్కలోని కబుర్లు చెప్పక నాకు. ఏటి నాకున్న పోతావు.
ఆడ పుట్టిన మీకు ఇలాంటి మాటలు కరెక్ట్ కాదమ్మా.
పీగినవులే.
నాకు ఆట గెలవడం కాదు, బతకడం కావాలి.
सरकार प्रॉपर्टी डैमेज చేస్తా.
మనమందరము ఒకే భూమి మీద పుట్టినప్పుడు నువ్వున్న చోట మనిషికి ఇల్లు ఎక్కువ, తామున్న చోట మనిషికి ఇల్లు తక్కువ.
ఎవరు పేరు నేను నా కొడుకులకి పిలిచి పని ఎక్కువ. వాడికి ఆట ఆడటమే తెలుసు, మనకు ఆట ఆడించటం కూడా తెలుసు. ఎక్కడ ఈ ఆటకు నా కొడుకు?
మాటలతో కాదు, ఆటతో బరిలో గెలిచే మగతనం ఎవరికుందో రమ్మను. రెండు ఆటలని కలిపి ఆడేవాడిని పిలిచే పేరు నాడు పెద్దిసారో. గెలుపైనా ఓటమైనా ఈ కొండ కింద ఊరూరు దేవాలా. మీరందరూ నేను ఆడాననుకుంటున్నారు. నేను పోరాడాను సారు.
Peddi's back on his feet.